Hello and good evening, one. Welcome back again to this virtual office hour session hosted by the Kenyan Wall Street. Today we will be doing a session with people from Tatu City, Special Economic Zone. They'll be talking about what happens in a Special Economic Zone, more so at Tatu City, and we'll be expounding more on that. Let us take a 60-second turn down so that everybody settles in so that we can start. Once again, welcome back to this virtual office hours session hosted by the Kenyan Wall Street. Today, we will explore how Tatu City is shaping the future of industrial development in Kenya and why more and more companies are choosing it as a base of operation. My name is Harry Njuguna. I write about markets here at the Kenyan Wall Street. And I'm joined by two gentlemen, Thomas Mwaengo and Mr. David Karimi from Tatu City. Maybe they introduce themselves and tell us one interesting fact about them. Thomas, you can go first.
Thank you, Harry, for this opportunity. So my name is Thomas Mwaengo. I'm the SEZ Operations Manager for Tatu City. I've been in the business. This is the 4th year. And basically, my role entails guiding our clients on how to onboard our special economic zone. So basically guiding them on the different facets of investment policy, legal issues, customs, and tax implications of the SEZ program. So I'm happy to be here. You asked me to say one funny thing, an interesting fact about myself. Yeah, I think is this interesting thing. Maybe I'll figure it out as we go along. Yeah.
Thank you. David?
My name is David Karimi. I'm the head of sales at Tatu City. I've been with the company for almost a decade now. It looks like almost a year ago, but it's been some time. A very interesting and exciting journey. And my day-to-day role is helping investors, families, as well as business owners to get to know and understand the kind of development that they want to invest in, help them in onboarding, taking them through the construction process. And my joy comes in when they're able to achieve and realize their dreams. So a good example, that family where you started by showing them a land to build their permanent home, being invited to a housewarming ceremony and seeing that they've already moved in, or that business that you sold them a property, now opening their facility to start operations. So that's my joy. One interesting fact about me is that I'm living the full dream of Tatu City, whereby I reside within the development. My children go to school within the development, and I enjoy all the recreational activities within the development. So a good example is something that I think even my colleagues don't know about me is that I run almost 15 kilometers at very wee hours of the night, almost 4 a.m. in the morning at Tatu City.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to get started. Let's dive into it. And my first question will be to you, Thomas. Over the years, the recent years, more so the last 5 years, we've heard the word special economic zone being tossed around. Most people don't understand what that means or what these zones are and what makes them special. And also in that note, also tell us how Tatu City came into being as a special economic zone.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, many people ask themselves, what is a special economic zone? What is special about it? How does it differentiate itself from the things that they know, for example, EPZs and stuff like that? So I'll just begin by saying that special economic zones are actually special areas, just as the name suggests. They are basically location-based schemes that are run by governments world over. And basically, the government designates these places where they provide liberal policies, ease of doing business. They give preferential taxes. And it's not a Kenyan concept, it's a global concept that has been used to industrialize many countries, for example, China, UAE, currently Egypt. So basically, there are very many success stories about how SEZs have actually been able to successfully industrialize and improve the economies of many countries globally. So basically, these are designated areas where the government decides that they designate and they offer certain preferential, as I mentioned, incentives. And the main objective for this is basically to be able to attract new investments, to be able to create new jobs, to be able to test policies. For example, if the country wanted to test certain policies, they can use SEZ to test those policies before they roll them over to the national economy. There are also areas where the government also expects that they will enhance integration of local value chains. So, for example, the industrial park is able to integrate with the local value chains in terms of the goods that come to the SEZ for production, for raw materials, and the rest. But overall, again, of course, the government also expects to get some revenue from the companies that set up within the special economic zones. So in Kenya, the government policy on SEZ allows both private and public sector to participate. And Tatu City is a privately owned special economic zone. We have been licensed since 2015. That's when we were licensed. And so we are the first operational mixed-use special economic zone. Now, by mixed use, what I mean is that you talked about industrial parks, but generally the issue is not about industry alone. SEZs cut across around 10 sectors. So the industrial zones, the ICT parks, business service parks, agricultural zones. So all these sectors actually are allowable within an SEZ. So Tatu City stands out as a mixed-use special economic zone. We right now we host 41 SEZ companies. That is nearly half the number of companies that the SEZ authority has licensed. Yeah, and each day we continue improving. We've created around 25,000 jobs within Tatu City, and we operate within 5,000 acres. So just in the process of improving day by day, growing the zone, and improving, putting in new concepts that basically allow us to wholesomely be able to get to a place where we're able to develop the 5,000 acres. Yeah.
Thank you. David, what type of companies are choosing to set up at Tatu City and what is motivating them?
Tatu has a very rich story of how we've been able to attract businesses to invest within the development. So first thing is that we have more than 100 businesses that have already invested within Tatu City. And these range from, I can say almost 70% are Kenyan companies and 30% foreign and international companies that are serving the African market. I think we've seen a lot of interest from pharmaceutical and medical companies. So a good example is Full Care, which is the third largest medical garment producer in the world. They've built their facility on 10 acres, and this year they are going to open a second facility on 60 acres. So Full Care has been able to employ more than 1,000 people, and they have another employment jobs that are in the pipeline of about 8,000 people. Apart from that, also we are seeing a lot of interest from distribution and logistic companies. We are proud to say that we host the first grade A warehousing facility in East Central Africa, that is African Logistics Properties. They've built almost a 50,000 square meter grade A warehousing facility, and they house three of the leading businesses in Kenya. That is Honen, which is the first production facility for solar panels. We also have FFS and another solar accessory company. Apart from that, also we host the largest cold solution or temperature control facility, again in East and Central Africa. That has been done by African Rainbow Capital. This is Cold Solutions. They've completed grade A warehousing facility on it's almost 15,000 square meters of space, temperature control facility. And here businesses can be able to rent out a minimum space of 1 pallet for a minimum period of 2 weeks. So it's become very accessible even to the medium and small enterprises. In the pipeline, we have Emirates Logistics. This is one of the largest logistics company in Dubai. They operate, or they do distribution for major brands like IKEA, Nike, and Adidas. Currently, they are serving the African market from Dubai, but last year they decided to set up a distribution center within our development on approximately 6 acres. So we become very popular as a distribution hub, not only to serve the Kenyan market, but also the East African region, as well as the entire African continent. We are also home to some of the leading food processors. So a good example, Domans. Domans is already here. This is where they process and export their coffee from. So the way that Tatu is designed is that we are able to cater to different kind of businesses. It's very attractive for various sectors to come and set up, starting from distribution and logistics centers, pharmaceutical companies. And lately, I think the last deal that we closed this month is Airtel, which is coming to do the largest the largest data center in East and Central Africa. They're coming to set up a 44 megawatt data center. So we're becoming attractive to all the leading sectors, not only in Kenya, but also globally, that want to come and set up and use Kenya as a platform to access the African market.
Wonderful, wonderful. Back to you, David, again. What are the trends in foreign and local investors who are coming to Tatu City? Yes, you have mentioned 30 and 70% ratio, but could you expand more on that?
Yeah, so the trend that we've seen is that, as I mentioned, the sectors that are coming on board, which ranges from pharmaceutical companies to distribution centers, data centers, BPOs. The trend that we've seen for the local companies is that the way our traditional industrial area is designed is that, number one, companies are running out of space. And number two, because of the property dynamics in Nairobi, land has become very expensive. I think in industrial area, to get an acre of land, the minimum it goes for is 130 million, which becomes a huge impediment for companies that want to expand. So, and businesses, we have quite a number of businesses in these sectors that are really growing, and the trajectory that they are growing in is not only to serve the Kenyan region, but also to expand into the East and Central Africa region. So one of the things that they are looking at is, number one, using SEZs as a platform for them to expand into these regions. But number two also is that these companies are looking also for a place whereby they can be able to build their own facilities, areas that are affordable to build their own facilities. And we've been able to make that very easy for them. So what we do is that we've created different ways there they can be able to come in, from a company leasing a minimum space of 850 square meters to a company acquiring a quarter an acre to build their permanent facility. So we've seen a lot of companies that are growing and they want to get into their own space, or not only growing into their own space, they want to use the SEZ platform to grow. The other trend that we've seen is that, these businesses also want a readily available infrastructure and infrastructure that is working properly, 100%. If you look at traditional industrial area today, there are quite a number of challenges when it comes to infrastructure. So number one, trucks that are coming in, they take a long time, as much as these locations are very close to the ICD and the airport. It takes a very long time for them to come in and unload their goods or unload their goods and take them to the ports. But with Tatu is that the infrastructure has really been improved. So a good example, coming from the inland container depot to Tatu City only takes 30 minutes drive, and there are multiple routes that you can be able to use. So we have the eastern bypass that was dualized, and we also have the outer ring, Thika Road and outer ring. So all these routes become lead to Tatu City, and the areas become very accessible for these businesses to be able to set up. The other trend that we've seen is that also power is, utilities have become a very critical part of the businesses because they want to operate seamlessly. We had an interesting conversation with one of the businesses in this area, and this company could not produce for 2 days, and this is because of power outage in the industrial area. And this leads for them to lose production hours. But in Tatu, what we've done is that we've enhanced our infrastructure to a point that there's reliable utility. So power and water is readily available, and businesses are looking at platforms of whereby they can be able to operate seamlessly. For international investors, again, is the same scenario. We have quite a number of foreign direct investors that have come, used our platform to get into the Kenyan market, as well as serve the entire African region. And these businesses, when they come to set up, especially for foreigners, they don't want the headache and the bureaucratic process of setting up. They want to set up within the shortest time possible. So what we've seen is that they are looking for end-to-end solutions, which we provide. So we are able to guarantee them that they can be able to get their business permits within the shortest time. The last one we did within 30 days. They want to acquire land that is legit and doesn't have any encumbrances. They want to get easy access to the labor market, which is readily available here in Ruiru, both skilled and semi-skilled. So what we've done is that we've been able to create a platform of whereby it ticks all their boxes and they're able to set up within the shortest time possible.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thomas, how does the licensing and approval process work for businesses that are trying to set up at Tatu City?
Okay, yeah, so in Tatu City, we operate what we call a one-stop shop, where we support the investors that come on board. As David has mentioned, you find that sometimes we get businesses that are investing in Kenya for the first time, so they don't have any contact within here. So we assist them, we literally handhold them from the day they set foot in Kenya up to the time that they are able to operate. So the approvals, the licenses, the permits range from the SEZ license itself, business registration, immigration permits. Some of them would require, again, NEMA and other regulatory permits. So basically, the first thing that we do with every investor that comes to Tatu City, first of all, is to help them understand how SEZ works and how SEZ can impact both their operations and also their financial aspects. So we basically take them through the available framework on the SEZ, how the business may require to be restructured, how they're able to take advantage of the SEZ incentives that are in place. We do this through a financial and a business model. So we do that. We have internal expertise to be able to undertake that. So basically get into the shoes of the business, understand the entire business properly, then fit it out into a model that enables them to be able to have a long-term horizon, 10 years, 20 years, to see how this SEZ impacts the business in the long run. So once we do that and the business investor actually feels that SEZ is the right platform to be able to invest, the next thing that we do is that we help them in terms of getting the required approvals, paperwork. So we help them even in getting the business registration, because that is one of the requirements. So we help them in registering a business. Some of them, we refer them even to the local banks that are available. We go as far as, again, to be able to introduce them even to banks and other aspects that they need. Then the next thing that we also do is to help them to be able to compile the required documentation for them to be able to get the SEZ licensing. So the SEZ is regulated by and facilitated by the SEZ authority, which is the competent authority. So basically, we help them to be able to do that submission to SEZ authority, do follow-ups, and then more importantly, after they have been able to set up, we also actually provide an aftercare program, where now after they have set up, they have the business running. Now on the day-to-day running, we also get to reach out to them to understand whether there are any issues that they have in terms of policy gaps, any issues that the government needs to do to be able to enable them to run properly. So it's a whole end-to-end program that we do through the one-stop shop. Yeah, so that's basically what we do to enable them to settle in and also get comfortable running.
Thank you, thank you. You mentioned the one-stop shop, and maybe the question I would have about that is, how is it improving speed and predictability for the companies that are trying to set up at Tatu City, and how does it compare to the national system?
Okay, yeah, so the one-stop shop is basically a concept that is embedded within the SEZ framework in Kenya. Every zone is supposed to operate a one-stop shop. And basically the intention here is to enable the investor to be able to get all the facilitation that they need within the same zone without having to go out to look for services from KRA or immigration or Ministry of Lands. So we've basically been able to map out 14 government agencies that are supposed to be domiciled at the one-stop shop. Our one-stop shop is operational. We onboard the services based on demand. So we have KRA on site. We would do immigration permits. We have a framework with them on how they approve them. We have those government agencies that come on a case-to-case basis, like NCA, NEMA, for approvals and all that. So basically what the one-stop shop does is that we basically ease the doing of business for the investor in terms of reducing their time that they use to go and seek services, and also having the services on site. But apart from that, we also do a lot of research and policy development proposals. So one of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis is basically to be able to do research and understand the successful stories that we have in China, in UAE, in Egypt, in Nigeria. So what is the policy like? What are the lessons that we can be able to pick from this research that can be able to can be implemented in Kenya? That can be able to improve the business environment within the SEZs. So we have a lot of that. So we also have a lot of collaboration with government in terms of proposing policy gaps that we see, and remedial or mitigation process that we feel when they're put in place, they're able to assist the attraction of more investors. So when you look at this, we look at this not necessarily as Tatu, but look at this as Kenya. What is it that we can be able to improve the business climate in as far as the SEZ is concerned? Yeah, so that's what we do within the one-stop shop.
Okay. Thank you. Thomas, maybe, David, maybe the next question would be, we mentioned about incentives that companies get when they set up their operations at special economic zones like Tatu. Which fiscal incentives do the companies receive, and how do they translate to savings for them?
Okay. So I mentioned about the SEZ incentives. So these incentives are structured in terms of fiscal and also administrative assistance by government. So basically, they impact the capex that the investor puts in, and they also impact the OPEX, the day-to-day running of the business. So the first incentive that they get is the reduced corporate tax. So the standard rate is 30% for Kenya. Now, when you set up in the SEZ, you get to enjoy a 10% corporate tax rate for the first 10 years, and then 15% for another 10 years. And that means you get tax breaks on corporate tax for 20 years before you revert to the prevailing rate, which currently is at 30%. We also get exemptions on withholding taxes, and this is specific on interest on borrowing, management fees, royalties that are paid to non-residents. Ideally, these payments attract 15 to 20% withholding tax, but in the SEZ, you're actually exempted for the first 10 years, and subsequent to that, it becomes 5%, which is a reduced rate. We also have dividends. Of course, shareholders invest knowing that they will get dividend out of the business. Again, in the SEZ, it is exempted from withholding tax. Then we have import duties, VATs that are also exempted. Now, these ones impact the business in two ways. The overall capex, when they're setting up the business, when they're putting up the facility itself, they're exempted from all the construction material, the fit out, the equipment, the production plant. So everything that they import at the point of setting up is basically exempted from import duty and VAT. So this significantly reduces the capex that they put in. We have companies that have saved up to 20, 30% through this kind of incentive. Then on a day-to-day running, they also get cash flow advantage in the sense that when they import their raw material, they don't pay import duty and VAT as well. So this basically eases their cash flow at the operational level. The SEZ is allowed to sell both to export and the local market. So basically, they pay taxes when they sell to the local market. So again, that's an advantage that they get in terms of cash flow. Then we have 100% investment deduction allowance for companies that are investing in SEZ doing manufacturing. Ideally, outside it will be 50% unless you invest up to 1 billion shillings in Nairobi or 250 million shillings in Nairobi, which is significant. So in the SEZ, you're allowed at whatever level that you invest in, as long as you're doing a manufacturing activity, you're allowed to do 100%, which is a significant saving within the first years of investment. Then there is a CGT, that is capital gains tax, which is also exempted. There's the upfront saving that you get from stamp duty if you're to purchase land. So for investors that choose to purchase land, they're exempted from the 4% stamp duty, which is a significant upfront saving. So I would say that these incentives basically impact businesses both at the setup period and also in the long run. They become more, they become profitable earlier than probably they would have been if they're in the traditional industrial park. And this basically reduces their cost of doing business.
Thank you for your answer on that one. David, I'm coming to you as head of sales. My question is, which sectors are showing the strongest performance inside the Tatu city? And can you share with us maybe a few success stories that illustrate business growth?
Yes, Harry. Yeah, so I think we have quite a number of success stories within the development. But when it comes to the sectors that are showing the strongest performance, it includes manufacturers. So a good example, the textile industry is doing very well, and both Kenyan companies as well as international companies are able to use this platform to do value addition in textile and also export to Europe as well as US, definitely utilizing the AGOA or the bilateral trade agreements that we have with US and Europe. So there's a very good, there's a very attractive, there's a very huge demand for companies within the textile sector that want to set up within the development, and they're doing very, very well because Kenya is known because of its textile and its cost of producing the textile within the country. The other thing that we've seen, or the other sectors that we've been able to see also includes BPO. So BPO is a very upcoming and fast-growing industry within the country. And international companies right now prefer to set up their BPOs and call centers in Kenya, especially for call centers. So a good example, we have CCI that has a 5,000 call center seat here and has employed 5,000 young Kenyans who are serving mostly American companies. So what we've seen is that number one, the labor market for Kenya, especially when it comes to call center, is really competitive when it comes to a global scale. Kenyans are known for their eloquence when it comes to English. Number two, they are very hospitable. Number three, they are very empathetic. And number four, they are very hardworking. And again, you also have a very tech savvy population. So quite a number of businesses that have already set up base in Philippines for call centers and BPOs, as well as South Africa. Right now, we are seeing them eyeing the Kenyan market so that they can be able to take advantage of the expertise, the labor market that is readily available here of young Kenyans who can be able to work for them. In addition to that, also BPOs are supported by the SEZ. So in addition to that, they also get to enjoy the tax incentives. In addition to that, also we've seen a huge opportunity when it comes to software development. So we have software development companies that are coming to set up, and some have already been in existence for I can say almost 2 to 3 years, and they are rapidly growing. So a good example, you have an software incubation center called E&M Tech, whereby they train between 1,000 people after every 6 months. And these are young Kenyans that are coming straight from campus. They give them software development skills and post them into jobs within the East African market. So this is one of the industries also that we've seen really growing, and how our development is able to support these businesses just to ensure that they're able to operate with ease is through our infrastructure. So a good example, ICT, internet. We have very reliable internet infrastructure, which is helps these businesses to operate without any challenges. In terms of success stories within Tatu, we have quite a number. Maybe I'll start off with the education sector. So one thing about Tatu, we are not only known for being an industrial park, but as Thomas mentioned, we also a mixed-use development. So meaning that apart from the industries, we also have other land uses that can be able to support the people that are working in these facilities. So a good example is that we have 4,500 students that are studying in Tatu on a daily basis, and they are studying across 6 different schools. We have Crawford International that started operations within Tatu in 2018. And as we speak today, Crawford has already reached its maximum capacity, and they're actually building additional classes for expansion. The other school is Nova Pioneer. Nova Pioneer actually started off with 1 campus in 2016. However, today Nova has 4 campuses within our development with 2,500 students that are studying. And actually we're in discussions with them for additional land for expansion. And majority of the people that are studying in these schools are not only coming from the Tatu City ecosystem, but also within the Nairobi metropolitan. So people are willing to drive all the way to Tatu so that they can be able to access good education. The other success story is with residential developers. So I'll give an example of Unity Homes. So Unity Homes has become the most successful developer right now in East and Central Africa. They started off their first development with us in 2018, and they were planning only to do 1,000 units on 10 acres. And as of today, they've been able to increase their portfolio to building 3,100 units. They've already delivered more than 80%, and they are selling between more than approximately 30 units on a monthly basis. Actually, most of their units, they sell them off plan. Because of this kind of success, we've also been able to take them to our Nigerian market, whereby they're also doing a similar development. So coming back to the industries, when I spoke about pharmaceuticals, so one of the trends that we've seen within the businesses within Tatu is that they usually start off with a smaller parcel just to get the experience within our development. Then they end up adding their capacity within the development. So a good example is Full Care. We did a first transaction with them for 10 acres, which they've already built, started operations. They added another 60 acres, which they are doing a mega factory, and they plan to open up by end of this year. We have Davis and Shatcliffe. Again, they deal with solar and irrigation equipment. They've already built their distribution center here on approximately 6 acres. And right now they're about to open the assembly plant to serve the entire East and Central Africa region. Yeah, so we have quite a number of success stories that I can be able to touch on. But for us, number one, our joy comes in by when we give businesses the support, and we see them thriving within our ecosystem.
Thank you, David. David has mentioned a few utilities that are available at Tatu City, and maybe Thomas, you can shed more light on the infrastructure backbone that is available to companies from day one.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so as I mentioned, Tatu City is a developer of the Tatu City zone. So normally, according to the SEZ framework, Section 33 basically mandates the developer to be able to provide infrastructure, utilities, and ensure that there's connectivity to the national backbone in terms of roads, ICT, power, and all that. So yes, so within Tatu City, we have world-class infrastructure, I would say. We've been able to develop up to over 70 kilometers of world-class tarmac, industrial class tarmac. We also have a very stable and sufficient power for companies that will come to set up in Tatu City. Our power station is 135 MVA, and that is significant power in terms of the companies that will be there and the people who will set up within Tatu City. So apart from just that, we also have reliable water, we also have sustainable water. So these are the things that basically most investors would want to look at. So the responsibility of the utilities and infrastructure is basically vested on the developer, and the government now brings in the national roads and other infrastructure to be able to interconnect that. And I'm happy that we are very well interconnected in terms of infrastructure, in terms of utilities, and also in terms of the other amenities that help us on a day-to-day basis. So as David has mentioned, Tatu City is more of an ecosystem. There are mixed-use development. So meaning that this ecosystem is not just about the utilities. It's about the live, work, play philosophy that we are actually aspiring to do. So you work here, you live here, and you're able to do your business here. And this is basically the philosophy that Tatu City is priding itself in. So most of the people that come to Tatu City look at the predictability and resilience of these utilities that you're talking about. So day one, they will ask you about how is your road network? How is your power stability? How green is your power? How is your water capacity and your water, quality. So they all do all those due diligence on all those things. So I would say that how this infrastructure backbone basically impacts the investment is that most of these investors would want to upfront be able to know that they exist. And if they don't exist, then what are we doing to be able to interconnect to these infrastructure and utilities that we have? But overall, we have seen a lot of investors basically looking at the sustainability aspect, that is the ESG aspect. So we are happy that within Tatu City, most of our power comes from green sources, that is Olkaria, and we also have internally able to generate power through solar. So we get up to 95% of green energy. Our water strategy is also very resilient and also very long-term, which also most of the investors that come on board would also want to know, like, what is the long-term strategy in terms of sustainability, in terms of water. So our water strategy in terms of storage, in terms of uptake, in terms of where we get our water is very well structured. We have enough storage, 30 million liters currently, which is able to sustain the ecosystem even for a week. We also get water from the municipals. So our water strategy, our power strategy, the road network, the interconnectivity, I think all these things as a whole, and the live work aspect basically is what helps the investors be able to get confidence to be able to set up in Tatu City.
Thank you very much. David, when you're talking to companies after they have set up their operations in Tatu City, what is the consistent reason they are saying was a factor for them choosing Tatu City over other industrial centers?
Yeah, so there are quite a number of reasons, and I think what the biggest one, one of the leading ones is on the SEZ incentives. So businesses, what we've realized is that they really want to grow, and they want to scale up into not only serving the Kenyan market, but the East and Central Africa market, and as well as the entire African region. So by using SEZs, at least they can be able, the SEZ platform is able to give them that capacity to serve these regions. The other thing that we've been able to see is businesses. The other reason that they're coming within our development is, which I mentioned, is more on reliable utilities. So as Thomas has mentioned, the uptime of power in Tatu City is more than 99.8%. The only time that Tatu City is affected, or the only time that we have a power outage is when we have the national blackout. And this is why we are seeing companies like Airtel can be able to choose our location to do mega data center. Companies like Cold Solutions decided to set up a cold storage facility within our development is because of that kind of reliability. When you're looking about water, we have our own water treatment plant. We're able to generate up to 10,000 cubic meters of water on a daily basis. The businesses and the residents here are only consuming only half of this. And because of this, we are able to attract very heavy water users. A good example is Kenya Wine Agencies Limited that has already set up their facility on 20 acres. Kimfe, which is one of the leading soft tissue manufacturers in East and Central Africa, as well as Chandaria Industries. So I can say for businesses, infrastructure reliability is very critical for them, as well as savings, the cost of operations. So our power is 16% cheaper because the VAT is zero rated. So businesses which are heavy power users, they can be able to save significantly when it comes to their power, to the power cost. In addition to that, our power infrastructure for the businesses, we give them power using an 11 kV line, which is the consumption rate is cheaper or lower compared to a 415 volts line. So if you look at businesses in industrial area, majority of them are served with a 415 volt line, meaning that they are paying higher power rates compared to businesses that are in Tatu City. So by them relocating to here means that they can be able to save quite a lot when it comes to their utility bills. The other reason that we've seen, and this is especially for agro processors, is that our development is located in Kiambu County, and Kiambu County, as well as the central region, is very active when it comes. It's one of the leading producers for agricultural produce, both for local consumption as well as export. So we are seeing a growing demand for agro processors, especially fresh produce exporters who are setting up within our development. They can be able easily to access fresh produce, do processing as well as value addition and export. And the reason that they like our development is because of the multiple routes to get to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport within a very short time. But again, as a business owner, one of the questions that also comes up is if I set up my business or if I expand my business within Tatu City, where will I be able to get labor? So Ruiru is one of the fastest growing towns in Africa. It's also considered to be the bedroom of Nairobi. Majority of the people that are working in Nairobi tend to reside in Ruiru. And these businesses can be able to access both skilled and semi-skilled labor at the doorstep of Tatu. So I can give you a good example, like the BPO. Out of 5,000 of their staff, 2,000 of them came from the local community, and they were able to be sourced within a month only. So Kiambu County has a very rich labor market. I think we are also home to 4 of the major universities in Kenya. So it also has a very young population. And if you look at the demographics, the Ruiru is considered to be one of the fastest growing towns in Africa. The population growth in Ruiru is almost 2% per annum. You compare that to other African towns, which are doing almost 1.5% per annum. So meaning that there's a very ready market for labor, for a workforce. While you're still speaking about workforce, I think for your workforce to be productive, also they need to be enjoying a holistic life. And that is what we've done in Tatu. So the people that are working within Tatu can also be able to enjoy other amenities. So a good example is we also have schools, and these schools are able to cater from the low income earner to the high income earners. We have 2 public schools within the development, which have a population of almost 1,600 students, both serving people working within Tatu as well as the surrounding community. Again, also, we are known because of our recreational facilities. So we have the first outdoor gym. We have a 5-a-side football pitch. We have basketball courts. And all these are available to the people that are working within Tatu that can be able to access these recreational facilities just for recreational activities. So we ensure that when your workforce, when you come and set up your business in Tatu, you also have a very motivated and strong workforce, and we made that to be very sustainable even in the long term. The other thing that we've seen businesses are setting up within our development is because of the time it takes for them to set up. So a business that is looking at building their own facility from scratch, we've made it very easy. So as Thomas mentioned, it takes a very short time for them to get approvals, business permits, and we have a very good relationship with the county as well as the Ministry of Lands, just to ensure that the policies that are in place are policies that are able to ensure that businesses are coming to set up here, their statutory approvals are fast-tracked and they are able to be approved within the shortest time. And because of that, they are able to set up within the shortest time. The other thing that we've done is that also the other opportunities, businesses do not only have to buy the land and own the facility. We also have ready warehouses for leasing. So a business can be able to relocate within the shortest time, get into a warehouse, and start operating within the shortest time possible.
From where you sit, SEZ like Tatu City becoming the most preferred model for Kenyan industrial development?
Yes, Harry. Yeah, so the conversation of SEZ on SEZs is gaining a lot of importance in the current Kenya, and not just in Kenya, but also in the region. And this is because SEZs globally have proved to be platforms where they enhance the economic activity of the country where they are domiciled. So success stories like the ones I mentioned about China, about UAE, we may not want to reinvent the wheel. We just need to borrow the best practices and put them in our policy, see how to regulate these special economic zones, and also give fair play to the companies that are outside the SEZ, because there's also a significant number of businesses that are not necessarily in the SEZ, that are basically in the national economy. So it's a balancing act where the government needs to encourage SEZs, but also balance in terms of how much incentives they give vis-a-vis the company, the opportunities that the companies that are in the national economy are also contributing in terms of tax revenue. So yes, these SEZs basically become preferred models, I would say. The mixed use aspect where there is live, work, and play is basically something that has happened in other countries, and that is what we are doing here in Tatu City. Successfully, we are doing that. The world-class infrastructure and reliability of utilities, as David has mentioned. Once you put that in place, then that kind of ecosystem is what really the investors are looking at. Apart from that, is that there's the whole opportunity that we have currently. And the tax and administrative incentive that the government is putting in place is basically very attractive. And we just need to take advantage of this window that we have currently, where we have the geopolitics, the global issues of tariffs that have been imposed in major markets like the US. So you see that there's a significant shift from companies that, like, for example, in Asia, wanting to be domiciled in Africa where the tax rates or the tariffs are lower. So this is a window that we have as a country, as a region, to be able to set up these SEZs, these special economic zones, where FDIs can actually come on as a platform and be able to manufacture products in Kenya, employ our people, provide jobs here locally, and then export this product to the markets where they actually have been exporting. So it's a good opportunity that we have currently. Then again, there are many opportunities that also come with the trade agreements that we have. So significantly is the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement that was signed. And Kenya is a member of the AU and is also a signatory to the AFCFTA, which began in 2020, where the African countries agreed to break down the boundaries and trade freely. This is a significant opportunity to attract these foreign direct investors to come in Kenya and also explore the African market from Kenya. So the many opportunities, just apart from the African market, we also have other trade agreements like the Kenya-European agreement, EPA. We also have the ongoing discussions with the US to see whether we can have a new agreement if AGOA will not be renewed. So there's significant opportunities that we can actually place within the SEZs that present us an opportunity to be able to attract FDI, set up in Kenya, give them those incentives, give them this liberal and easy way of doing business, let them create the jobs, let the government be able to collect some revenue from them, and then let us be able to remain as an exporting country, because these FDI that come to Kenya to export it as a country is position Kenya as an export country. Then another very important aspect is that in this age, in the 21st century, there is a lot of significance with the ESG, that is the ESG issues, social governance, economic, and all those issues. So SEZs are actually platforms where you can actually implement that at a very small scale and attract these FDIs, because you realize that most investors are very concerned about the geological issues, the social issues, the governance issues. And these SEZs present a very good opportunity for countries and nations to be able to put up frameworks where these issues can be handled at a smaller scale, have these platforms where now these investors can be able to come in and then be able to sell to the global markets. So yes, Tatu City, SEZs like Tatu City remain very good models for such business. In 2023, maybe just to mention, is that we were fitted to as among the 50 global ESG model zones in the world by the UNCTAD or by the UN, and among 9 zones in Africa that are actually best practices for ESG. So we believe that models like Tatu City can be borrowed, lessons can be borrowed from here, and we replicate the same models across and ensure that we attract the much needed FDI at this point in time.
Asante. There are concerns about affordability with homes going a few-fold the GDP per capita. David, how are you ensuring inclusivity while still maintaining equality at Tatu City?
Yeah, so thank you, Harry. And I can say our development, we are very responsive to the market dynamics. And this is something that we've seen, an opportunity that we've seen within our development. As you've mentioned, we have almost 25,000 people that are working within our development. All of them, they need affordable housing. So apart from, so we already have an investor that is doing, I can say, mid-income housing, that is Unity Homes. They are selling their developments at around starting from 6.1 million Kenya shillings, as well as ourselves. So this is a space that we are getting into the mid-income housing, which we've seen has a very high demand, not only from people that are working within our development, but also people that are also working within the Nairobi metropolitan. So this gap is there, and it's an opportunity that we've seen, and it's an opportunity that it's a space that we've decided to provide a solution. So in-house, we're doing a development called the Porini Point. And Porini Point, it's a mid-income housing whereby we'll be providing houses ranging from 1 bedroom all the way to 3-bedroom houses at a very affordable rate. So the 1 bedrooms will start off at 6.1 million. The 2 bedrooms are going for around 10.3 million. And it's an opportunity for investors to come and buy these individual units so that they can be able to rent out to the mid and senior management that are working within the development. As I mentioned, Unity Homes already has more than 3,000 residents that are already residing there. Most of their houses are sold off plan. But when it comes to the question about affordability, we also have other developers that are coming to satisfy this market. So in the course of time, we'll be officially announcing a developer that is coming to do affordable housing. They've been financed by some of the leading DFIs for them to be able to house the people that are working, the low-income earners that are working within the ecosystem. But again, Harry, I see this as an opportunity because the demand that we have today in Tatu, as developers or as Tatu City, we are not able to satisfy it. And for this reason, we're inviting other developers to come on board so that they can be able to do the developments that they see an opportunity in, and whereby they've been able to, they have a lot of expertise. So for developers that are doing affordable housing, I think this is a very good space for them to come in. You already have the market in. But currently what we've seen also is that we also have a development called Oaklands that is located on the northern side of Tatu. It's a total of 1,400 acres, also a mixed-use development. We have quite a number of developers that are taking up space here to do houses for people within the mid-income as well as the low-income earners. So basically, they are looking at the space of affordable housing. Again, they want to take advantage because of the workforce that they've been able to see that is growing within Tatu. So I think my parting shot, Harry, for that one is that it's a gap that is there, and we are inviting developers to come and take advantage of that opportunity.
Thank you for your insight. In 2024, you are appointed as the World Free Zone Organization Regional Office. What does this mean for Tatu City and the Kenya SEZ ecosystem at large, Thomas?
Okay, thank you, Harry. Yes, so Tatu City, like any other organization, we are members of different associations. We are a member of the World Free Zones Organization, which is a global lobby body for free zones, special economic zones across the world globally. We also have membership within the Africa Economic Zones Organization, which is a Pan-African organization for free zones as well. We're also members of ANCHAM. We're also members of a local or a Kenyan Special Economic Zones Association that was launched last year called SEZ. So we are members of different associations and organizations and bodies. So Tatu City in 2024 was nominated as the regional office for the World Free Zones Organization, having been a member for over a decade. And basically, what it means for the regional office is basically to enhance the interests of the World Free Zone Organization. Part of what the objectives of the World Free Zones organizations would be advocacy and representation at the global forums like the UN, World Trade Organization, World Customs Organization. So basically, they look at things at the global level and then, advocate for better policies, for better frameworks to be implemented at that global level. So what this means is that we're able to tap into the global objectives of the World Free Zones Organization. So you tap into the advocacy aspect where we're able to, channel what we feel are gaps that can improve the workings of special economic zones through World Free Zones organizations, through the engagements that we have. And we basically draw membership from the region. So we are the EAC, or the East African Community or East African Region representative. So we basically recruit members, onboard them into the World Free Zones Organization as the regional office. And the intention basically is to tap into this global knowledge that World Free Zones Organization also has. So they have training programs, they have opportunities for networking, they have opportunities for collaboration, they have what we call an annual congress, which in this year happens in South China in an island called Hainan in October between 10th and 12th. So all these opportunities basically enables us as a region or as a country to be able to tap into the rich knowledge base that the World Free Zones Organization has, and be able to translate that now into opportunities for us to be able to get investors and also be able to get new policies at that level. So apart from that, we also get the World Free Zone Organization also has is like a competent body in terms of how World Free Zones, how free zones operate or how special economic zones operate. So that also helps us to be able to align to standards and best practices. So in terms of governance, compliance, sustainability, be able to draw to the frameworks that they have and be able to implement them at the regional level, or advocate members to be able to implement at the regional level, and therefore be able to align ourselves to global best practices. And so therefore, that allows us to be able to attract investors that would otherwise not have come because we do not have or do not meet certain requirements or certain, compliance and sustainability issues that they would have expected. Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas. As I wind up on my end and go into the questions, my last two questions, one to David, which is what is the next phase of growth for Tatu City? Is it more in the industrial space, more services, or residential expansion?
Yeah, so I think what people don't know is that the development started almost 18 years ago. We started this journey in 2006. And as of today, I can say we've only touched only a third of the development out of the 5,000 acres. Over the years, we were more focused on infrastructure, doing the infrastructure, also streamlining the policy and the regulation framework together with the government, and coming up with the governance for the entire city. As of today, we have nurtured a population of 30,000 people that are working, residing, and studying within the development. And because of this, we are seeing now a lot of demand for not only businesses that want to come and acquire the land to set up their permanent facility, but also as well as businesses that want to come and rent space to enjoy the SEZ incentives, as well as the other benefits that come by being within our ecosystem. Last year, we partnered with a few of the existing business owners, and we developed 10,000 square meters of warehouses for leasing. And as of today, we've already leased out 85% of the space. So here, businesses can be able to rent out a minimum space of 850 square meters and start operations immediately as they get to enjoy all these benefits. And because of that, we are seeing more and more demand. So we've made a strategic decision to do more warehouses. So next year, we are planning to do another 10,000 square meters. As we speak, we already have a pipeline of almost 5,000 square meters that want to take up this space. And again, because of our engagement with these companies, because this facility is more of an SME facility, we're also getting quite a number of both Kenyan and international companies that want bespoke purpose-built warehouses. So we're also having discussions with them to build purpose-built facilities just for them, whereby they can be able to take them up of a long-term lease. Again, these opportunities are quite many. We cannot be able to satisfy them on our own, and that's why we are opening this opportunity also to other developers in the region to come and take advantage so that they can be able to provide a solution for them. The market is readily available. We've been able to see it from ourselves, and we've been able to see it from existing businesses within our ecosystem. In addition to that, also, we know of the economic challenges that are in the country, but at the same time, we have small and medium enterprises that are doing well, and they want to expand into their own spaces. So we've made the process of them getting into the development to be very easy. And what we did is that we came up with quarter-acre parcels within the industrial park that are available to SMEs. So now a business can be able to acquire a quarter an acre and develop on it if they don't have a lot of activities. And these quarter acres are very affordable. They go from 22.4 million Kenya shillings. And we also offer extended payment plans of up to 24 months. So a business can be able to acquire this land on an installment basis, and we can also be able to give them early access. Once they get to almost 60% of the payment, we can give them access for them to start developing. Yeah, so we've been able to listen to the market, understand the market, and we are developing solutions on a daily basis that can be able to support more and more businesses to get into our ecosystem. In addition to that, also we are seeing a lot of demand when it comes to the office and retail space, as well as residential. As I mentioned, we have a number of almost 10,000 homes that are coming up within the development. Majority of them have already been sold, and we are seeing more demand on a daily basis. So with that, we are building one of the most iconic developments in East and Central Africa, a mixed-use development called Jabali Towers. It's going to be 2 towers. The highest one is 36 floors. And within the 2 towers, we'll be having 350 residential houses ranging from studio apartments all the way to 3-bedroom apartments, as well as a few penthouses for those that like exclusivity and towering over the city. And within Jabali Towers also will be having office and retail space available. We'll be housing almost 20 food outlets. So basically, we want to make these a destination, not only for residential, but also for people who want to come for recreational amenities within our central business district. Alongside Jabali Towers, also we'll be doing our own office space, a total of almost 3,000 square meters. And also we have plans to do a 4-star business hotel, almost 130 key business hotel. So the ecosystem is growing. We are seeing more and more opportunities coming up on a daily basis. I think the biggest question is how to plug into these opportunities. And for us, as I mentioned, is we want to share this pie with everyone. So it's an opportunity that is open to investors as well as individuals to come and take up.
Asante. David, Thomas, last one is to you. How do you see Tatu Special Economic Zone contributing to Kenya's Vision 2030 economic goals over the next decade?
Okay, yeah, so special economic zones themselves, from the government perspective, were actually conceived as a Vision 2030 projects. So ideally, they're supposed to complement or be able to fulfill the pillars that form up the Vision 2030. In terms of numbers, currently, as we speak right now, we're already having a good share or a big share of what the government expects. The investment in Tatu City currently stands to around $3 billion. That's close to around 400 billion Kenyan shillings as we speak right now. That is the infrastructure, together with the many investors that have already invested here. We've been able to create around 25,000 jobs. Remember, all these jobs, these people pay, so the government collects a significant amount of money in terms of tax revenue. So in 2023, we did an empirical study or a research about how Tatu City will be in the next 20 years. And we continue to actually look at that horizon in terms of what happens within the next 10 years, 20 years. So the finding that we got to that point, and that is like 2 years back, was that we expect that we'll have around 250,000 residents who will actually be staying in Tatu City. These 250,000 residents will be accommodated in around 48,000 households. Now, as you understand, every household, of course, they spend, there's all that expenditure that they will have. We currently, as we stand right now, the Tatu City generates around 100 to 120 million shillings in terms of pay alone for the workers who work within Tatu City. And our projection is that within the next 20 years, we'll be able to generate at least 45 billion Kenyan shillings in terms of just people who work within Tatu City. And in terms of, apart from just the revenue, you also need to look at the land use. For example, we mentioned that we own 5,000 acres. So one of the metrics that economists use is, for example, income per acre. So, for example, income per acre in Nairobi is projected to be around 2 million shillings per acre per month, or annually, 2 million shillings annually per acre. Now, in Tatu City, that is 9 million per acre. So that's significantly how we expect the project to grow. We are just at the start of this project. This project will be a very big project. So we expect that it will fulfill most of the objectives of the Vision 2030, which encompasses economic growth, job creation, industrialization, attraction of FDI, and improved level standards of living for the people. So I believe that Tatu City and all the other special economic zones that are growing, that are coming up, basically are anchored at a position where they fulfill actually most of the requirements that the Vision 2030 was anchored. They may not be able to fulfill it within the 2030 horizon, but even beyond that, maybe in the next decade by 2040, then some of those aspirations will be fulfilled through these SEZs and also the outflows that come from the ecosystem that the SEZs create.
Asante sana. Let us go to the questions that our audience are asking, and I'll go straight to the first one that was asked, and it's from Tony Mael. He's asking, there are mentions that distribution companies are setting up in the SEZ as well. Can distributors of intangible, that is maybe software licenses, set up at the SEZ?
Maybe I can take that one. Yeah, so as I had mentioned during the introductory remarks, is that special economic zones are not just engineered to attract to manufacturing. They're also geared towards service-oriented sectors like software development, ICT, data centers. And that is why, as David mentioned, we have significant interest from data centers, call centers that are setting up in Tatu City. And we already have currently a few that are setting up here. So software development is also envisaged within the SEZ program. There's an ICT sector that is acceptable within the SEZ program. So ICT companies can be licensed to operate within the special economic zones.
Thank you. Let's go. Thank you, Thomas. Let's go to the next one. Next one is from David Wangaro, and he's asking, what do the recurring services charges look like for companies that set up there? And how different is it from residential service charges? David.
Yeah, so that's a very good question. My namesake, David. Number one, the question that we mostly get is how we be able to maintain the wonderful infrastructure that we have in Tatu. And one thing, and also the other question that we get as a developer, we will leave the development. And this question comes from the other developments that we've seen, especially in Nairobi, whereby if once the developer leaves the development, then the residents are, number one, stop remitting service charge. Number two, it becomes a challenge to maintain the infrastructure. Then number three, the entire development starts to deteriorate, thus losing its valuation. And also you get yourself in a scenario whereby you find your name on the gate and you are required even to open the door for yourself. So as Tatu, we don't want, we've been able to look at all these case studies, and we've been able to ask our question, the question that we've asked ourselves, what is the world best practice in terms of managing and ensuring that we have sustainable master planned the development that is able to stand the test of time. So yes, we have service charge, and service charge, every resident pays service charge depending on where they are. So a good example, like I see you've asked, how is it different from the residential service charges? So I'll break this down into two sections. So our residential service charge, a good example like Kijani Ridge, we've seen it's one of the lowest in the market when it comes to upmarket residential areas in Nairobi. A homestead on a quarter an acre, they pay only almost 4,800 Kenya shillings on a monthly basis. And the services that they get to enjoy, number one, include security. David, if you've tested our security, especially the speed limits, I think when you come to Tatu, you'll see that Tatu is one of the most safest locations, not only to motorists, but also we highly value pedestrians. So it's the only development that you can be able to jog as well as cycle with your family without getting worried of your security. You'll find people that are jogging at and playing basketball at 11 p.m. at night. And we are able to maintain this security through the service charge that is contributed by the residents. In addition to that, also, our security includes armed security. We have almost 50 armed security on mobile patrol, and half of them have actually received the best training in the world. They've had anti-terrorism training from US as well as the US. So we've ensured that we've been able to create a very secure environment. Our service charge also covers landscaping. I think if you've come within the development, you've seen the kind of work that we've done. Apart from landscaping, we also look at facility management. So this includes repairing and maintaining the infrastructure. We have garbage collection, so we collect all the waste within your property, and as well as land rates and land rent. So all this is included within the 4,800 Kenya shillings that the residents pay. So as I mentioned, and again, for our service charge is not, it's not a profit-making entity, is supposed to be providing services to the residents. So we charge the actual services that the residents enjoy. And apart from that, also we provide audited reports on an annual basis, just to ensure that residents can be able to see how we are spending the service charge, or where it's going to.
Thomas, maybe you can tackle this one from your namesake also.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is from Jolly Thomas. Thank you, namesake, as well. So you're asking whether you can do an instant tea extraction facility and whether for export, and whether there is a suitable location for that. You're also asking whether an EPZ zone is available in this facility and what facilities are available for the project in Tatu City. Now, so tea extraction and other manufacturing or processing activities actually allowed within the industrial park Tatu City. We basically, our industrial park is basically for light industry, so this falls within that bracket. Any export-oriented business basically fits within the SEZ. So if you're doing it for export, you actually fit very well, because you're able to come, have it in your facility, extract the tea, package it, and actually take it for export. You'll be facilitated within, we have customs officers within the zone that are able to facilitate your export directly to the airport or to the seaport or wherever the destination market is. Now, you asked an interesting question about whether an EPZ zone is available in the facility. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these are questions that come from many people asking whether EPZ is the same as SEZ. Now, I want to say that they're different in many ways. EPZs are basically export-oriented. They're basically similar to SEZ in terms of location-based aspect, but basically they're expected to, whatever you manufacture within the EPZ is expected to be exported, except 20% that you can sell to the EAC region. Now, it's different from the SEZ. SEZ, you can actually manufacture. It's more of an import substitution program where you can actually manufacture, sell for export, and also sell to the local market. Of course, there will be taxes that the government will charge. So to the specific questions, whether EPZ is available, what I want to talk about is the activity. So any activity that you can actually do in an EPZ, you can actually do it in the SEZ, because SEZs are like a higher version of EPZ. EPZs would be more or less like manufacturing and processing only and services, and a bit of service oriented, but SEZs have a bigger spectrum in terms of the schemes that are acceptable. So anything that you can do in the EPZ, you can actually do it in the SEZ. Of course, each one of them comes with a different set of incentives, but what we have done from our own analysis is that if you're profitable on a year-on-year basis at least 10%, then you're better off in SEZ compared to SEZ. So I hope that answers that question. So yes, you can fit in. We have facilities within Tatu City. We have SME custom build warehouses where you can actually do such kind of an activity. As David mentioned, we have locations where you can lease as little as 850 square meters, where you don't have to come and build, just come and lease and start your activity. So you have a number of options, and we are happy to assist you in terms of getting a suitable option for that kind of activity. Yeah.
David, maybe you can take this one on how can we get building and design details from Nicholas.
Yeah, so thank you, Nicholas. So all these details are really available on our website. That is www.tatucity.com. And our design guidelines, we have what we call design guidelines. So Tatu City is a controlled development. We have specified, we have come up with specific development controls for the specific locations. So be it within the industries, the residential area, schools, as well as the public purpose areas. Yeah, so we have prescribed development controls for those specific areas, and you can be able to get them within, they are readily available in our website.
This one is a little bit wordy from Morris. It says investors in power-heavy industry are looking for to decarbonize their power-hungry facilities, driven by their net zero commitments and emerging global regulatory requirements. Data center operators looking for 24 around-the-clock carbon-free power or direct connection to large-scale renewable energy plants. Currently, the national grid provides a mix of renewable and thermal energy. How would Tatu City be able to provide such for investors to ensure they meet their net zero commitments? Thomas?
Okay, let me take this, and I'm sure David will chip in at some point. Yeah, so one of the things that most investors actually ask as they come to do due diligence is what Morris is asking, and that is about the issues of net zero, ESG, all those issues. And as David mentioned, we just had a data center open up, break ground, I think in the last 4 or 5 days. They have done significant due diligence in terms of how our power operates, how green is our power and all that. But of course, I appreciate the fact that the power that we consume is basically supplied by government, and it has a mix of both renewable energy and also the power that is generated through thermal energy. Now, in Tatu City, we operate a utility company called Tatu Power, and that is the company that basically reticulates and builds and supplies power within all the enterprises and all the facilities within Tatu City. Now, look at it in terms of we are licensed and regulated by EPRA, just the same way that Kenya Power is regulated. And in terms of our future horizon, we have plans, and I think this is in the future, because currently our infrastructure supports power up to 66 kV, and we know KenGen, for example, supplies power at a higher level. So the long-term horizon is basically to be able to wheel our own power into the facility. There is that aspect as well. We have power lines that come directly from the oil carrier, for example, that pass through the southern part of our facility, where we're able to take direct power from that comes from oil carrier, of course, wheeled by KenGen all the way, and then we're able to take. But of course, we also have an option, being that we are a power company, we also have an option to generate some power internally, which we're already doing. Right now, we are doing, I think David will correct me if I'm not if I'm wrong, we're doing around, I think, 7 megawatts of green power generated through solar. So some of those strategies in the long run, of course, right now, the infrastructure that we have to depend on KenGen to be able to supply this power. But of course, the long-term horizon is that we may be able to actually wheel our own power directly into the project. Maybe David, you can chip in on this issue of power as well.
Yeah, thank you, Maurice. And I agree, it's a question that we get on a daily basis. Our development is very environmental sensitive, and this is one of our pillars, just to ensure that there's an environmental sustainability. And because of this, the power structure that we've been able to put in place, as of today, 95% of our power is coming from renewable sources. And the target is to get to 100%. And again, because of this, this has become actually an attraction to not only Kenyan, but foreign companies that want to come and set up within the development. So businesses, we are having more and more businesses that are being funded by DFIs, and their DFIs want to know exactly where they are setting up, what kind of policies we've put in place to ensure that we are looking to decarbonize the power sector, and we are taking care of the environment. If you look at our portfolio, quite a number of companies have been financed by DFIs like IFC, FinFund, Soros Economic Development Fund, Grand Challenge, and the latest one was No Fund that funded Kimfe. One of the biggest questions is sustainability. And the reason that they find Tatu City to be attractive is because we meet majority of all the sustainability requirements.
Asante for answering that long question. We have another one from Ferdinand Aumo on LinkedIn, and it says, I like the insights coming from the panelists, and the panelists are doing justice to the subject matter. My concern is that the local companies seem not to be taking advantage of the opportunities available in the SEZ program, the benefits notwithstanding. What is the missing link, gentlemen?
Okay, I think I can take this one. Thank you, my friend Ferdinand, for that question. Yeah, so as you have rightly put it, there's very limited information about SEZs currently as we speak. In fact, this is a conversation that we are actually having, apart from this webinar that we're having many other conversations with the business community, just to enable them to understand and to also learn about how these SEZs can actually be impactful in terms of the business. So you asked a question about why the local companies don't seem to take advantage of the opportunities available in the SEZ. So we have companies that are already set up, and the intention of the SEZ is not to cannibalize on the companies that are already existing and providing tax revenue to the government. The whole essence of the SEZ is to provide a platform where new investments can be able to can actually come and set up. So we've had, as David had mentioned, majority of the companies that are actually set up in Tatu City are actually local companies. So what you're talking about is new investors or new investments. So companies that are already existing, but opening up new businesses within Tatu City. So there's limitation in terms of information. That is one. And then number two, from a policy perspective, we have to agree that there have been policy gaps over the last 10 years that the SEZ program has existed. In fact, it's only 2023 that we've had a breakthrough in terms of enabling the issues, for example, of market access for SEZ goods to be streamlined, that now new investors are getting confidence in terms of the SEZ program itself. So we've had a myriad of challenges, so to say, and this is expected for any formative stage of any program, that there will be challenges in terms of policy, in terms of understanding, in terms of implementation, even from the regulator perspective, in terms of funding and financing and all those things around investment. So right now, as you speak, we are getting a lot of interest because this is a conversation that is very much alive. And I even had the president talk about it this week, that within the next 10 years, we'll have significant progress in terms of the SEZ program itself. So to answer your question is that, yes, there have been policy gaps, there have been limited information, but we are seeing new investments into the SEZ because now I think the conversation has become much more alive. The policy has become more streamlined. One of the breakthroughs that we've had is that right now we have a policy that governs SEZs the regional level, that is at the East African community level, because SEZs are very customs facing, movement of goods and all that. So the partner states in the EAC, which are eight countries, for example, have had to sit down and agree how SEZs will operate and how goods will move between the various countries. So once we have had this EAC SEZ policy in place from 2023 and its regulations that were accepted in 2024, we are getting now more confidence, even as a developer, to be able to approach new investment and tell them, hey, now the policy is right, you're able to access the local market, this is the framework that is in place, this is how you access the local market, this is how you sell your goods to the export market. So those are the gaps that have been existing, but we are sure that the link that you're talking about is finally getting closed.
Yeah, maybe just to add on what Thomas has mentioned. So as Tatu City, we are really putting a lot of focus and investing heavily just to educate the market about SEZs. And once businesses find that they are eligible, the other thing that we do is that we do financial simulations for them so that they can be able to see up to the last coin that they'll be saving. So they can be able to have a perspective on the tax savings that they'll be making on during their stay in Tatu. So basically, it boils down to the numbers and convincing the decision makers that showing them the actual tax savings that they'll be getting if they set up here. And we provide that service to the businesses free of charge.
Okay, Asante. One last one is from somebody by the name John Gige, and he was asking about the power issue. And the question is, the 11 kilo VA and 415 was not clear how one happens to be cheaper. One can only use either single or three-phase, mainly attributed but not limited to power costs based on kilowatts irrespective.
Yeah, so John, thank you for that question. So when you look at the EPRA rates for power, usually businesses are charged based on their consumption and also based on their connection. So the 415 one, if you look at the power rates, the charges are slightly more compared to the 11 kVA line. And this is because the kVA line is considered to be more of a commercial uptaker and the consumption is much higher. So you find that the rates are slightly discounted by EPRA. So that's how it translates to someone using an 11 kVA line pays a cheaper rate compared to someone using a 415 volts line.
Asante. Thank you, Thomas and David, for your time and insights. And thank you for our audience for joining us this evening. Any parting thoughts, Thomas? Go first.
Thank you so much, Harry, and thank you for everybody who has participated in this forum. Indeed, it was very insightful, very provoking. These are conversations that we should be having many times. I've been happy to interact with the many questions that have been asked. SEZ is, you asked me about something that is interesting. So I'm very passionate about this SEZ discussion. That's one thing that I'm very passionate about. I'm passionate about seeing people coming in the first day, coming in with a notebook, taking them through, and they take their money, borrow a loan, set up a business, and they're able to operate. So as the operation manager for Tatu City on the SEZ front, it gives me a lot of fulfillment to see investors coming in and actually fulfilling their dreams by having their businesses set up within the special economic zones. So this is a conversation that I'm very passionate about. I've been happy to participate in this, and I look forward to more conversations about the same. Hope you'll host us again. And we invite many more people to be able to come on the table, and we have this conversation that is able to take our country forward and also be able to develop our region to a level that we'd expect to bequeath our next generation. Thank you.
David?
Yeah, so for me, what I can say is that number one, we are not inventing the wheel. The SEZ program, industrial park, and generally mixed-use developments. This is a concept that has been proved in the developed worlds. If you look at China today, China was able to move from a developing country to one of the leading economies in the world because of SEZs. If you look at countries like Dubai, they are using also the same model. Egypt, and these countries have become the leading economies in the world just because of this concept. So I believe for a business that is looking at growing to the next level, you better catch up, because SEZs, industrial parks, and the whole concept of mixed-use developments, this is the next platform that is will be used as powerhouses to grow the businesses that want to scale, not only in the Kenyan environment as well as the entire African continent, and also become competitive globally. Right now, we are not only competing with you're not only competing with businesses in Kenya, but you're competing with companies that are on the global market. We have Chinese companies that are coming into the country on a daily basis. We have companies that were based in and servicing Africa from Dubai. Right now, they're getting into the country to service the African market. So as a Kenyan investor, my advice will be for you to be able to take advantage of this platform. Come and have a conversation with us if you have questions or you need clarifications, and we'll be able to take you through this journey. As Thomas mentioned, in Kenya, we have 91 businesses that are operating as special economic zone enterprises, and half of them are in Tatu City. So please come give us a call. We are available here in the office. We can come to you, and we'll be able to have this discussion with you and walk this journey with you also.
Thank you once again, Thomas and David, for your insights, and thank you to our audience who made their time to join us this evening. This has been a valuable look into how Tatu City SEZ is shaping Kenya's next phase of industrial growth. My name is Harry Njuguna. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.